That's official. Susan Wild. Now I know, guys, that if I mention that name again, you can do better than that. Susan Wild. Thank you very much. Now, can we have silence, please? Yeah, I've already asked them to silence their phone. Like I said, if I hear one ring, you don't want to see me walk toward you. I have a shirt hanging here. There's a shirt here hanging on the front of the podium. If any one of you left it here last meeting, there it is. If it's not one of yours, we might give it away.
Just move it for now. We're going to get that off the stage. Move it off to the side. Someone just grab it. All right,
Hold on, I heard that.
Donald Trump, I'm saying to the Lehigh Valley, he helped me get the win. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make sure your hats are national anthem. Hats off, please.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bumpers singing, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to say a prayer now, so if you could remain standing.
That was a test.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this great victory for the United States of America and for the courage and leadership that Donald Trump showed each and every one of us. Help us to follow his example. We thank you for getting here in Pennsylvania everything we asked for, our entire slate. We are most grateful to all those who knocked on doors, made phone calls, worked for PACs, handed out pro-life literature, did literature stuffed bags, flag waves. Anything and everything that they did was worthwhile. We ask for forgiveness the times that we took for granted our freedom here in this country. Help this country to heal and help us to influence others and to educate especially the youth who seem to be so blind. Help them to open their eyes, for where there is no vision, the people shall perish. Bless this meeting. Amen. Amen. Please sit. Well, here's my quick Synopsis: where there is no vision, the people shall perish. So there were several here in this room. We were down at the banana factory. Quiet, please. Where the Lehigh students were. Not all of them voted for the Democrat Party, but many of them did. And it's astonishing that their parents pay so much money. A lot of these kids have cars, pretty good apartments, they have money to go to the restaurants, but they have no vision. The reason I think Donald Trump was because he had a vision. He had a vision for this country, a vision of where we should be as a country, and what we need to do to make America great again. If you think for a second, our Tea Party had a vision. Our vision was to get new audio and digital equipment, which we did, to be able to fund things by selling these guns and goodie tickets. Speaking on behalf of the Northampton County Republican Committee, we had a vision of adding members, thanks to Roger and Glenn and our staff over there. We started out with 1,000 people in our database. We collected over 1,200 new names during this election cycle. So we're able to do two things: communicate with them, try to get them to do other things, and we were able to generate some money. But you know the Democrats are good at one thing that we're not. They never stop fighting.
Cheating.
Cheating, yes, but also they know how to fight. So one frustrating thing that I received messages from many people was, they're coming in buses across the state borderline. What are you going to do about it? My response to some people were, what did you want me to do, stand at the Phillipsburg Bridge with a shotgun?
Yes.
They were exercising their First Amendment right. You have to stop and think. So I have to question, you know how many of you knocked on doors, how many of you made phone calls, because those are probably the most two important things. So I ask you, as we go to the next election cycle, which will be in a few months, elections are local. For us to change the election office, you have to win the county seats. People like Jackie know that. There's other people in the room that have run for those seats. So we have to find people and work behind them. We're not going to have another Donald Trump that it makes you as enthusiastic. But the only way to win it is win it locally.
That's right.
And we have to educate the youth. The other thing is, if you look there to the right, those who vote decide nothing. Those who count the votes decide everything. Joseph Stalin. We witnessed that at the banana factory. The Senate race, coming here this afternoon, we thought that it was still going to be stolen, but from what many of you have told me, McCormick won, thank God. And Kamala had no vision. Does anyone, the last thing I want to say, does anyone have a bird cage or a cat kitty litter tray? Because Tom found he's out in the hallway, he's here, so if you have to line your bird cage or your kitty litter tray, there you are. All right? Yeah, there we go, we'll move them. All right. Yep. All right, so before we start our actual presentation here, Tom's going to introduce our first guest speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Tom.
God blessed us, and we need to be thankful for that.
Amen.
And when Andrew said just now about winning everything, well, the most important thing for us are these local elections and our local representative. Ryan McKenzie won that election. Representative
And so I trust that he is going to go to Washington with the same integrity that he served the citizens of Pennsylvania as a state rep. And there's one person that I also want to recognize before I bring Ryan up. I've known you since like 2010. Andre Zweller in the back. Andre Zweller, I'm very proud of you. And thank you for all you did for Ryan and all the other candidates throughout the valley. And now, bring Brian McKenzie as our next congressman.
From the bottom of my heart, there are so many people in this room. This is never a singular accomplishment. Even though I was the candidate on the ballot, we had so many people who worked so hard making phone calls, door knocking, working on election day, making contributions, praying, sending prayers, which are so important. All of that came together to defeat Susan Wild here in the Lehigh Valley. Andres was introduced as my campaign manager. We had a great team. And Andres, there's another gentleman, maybe some of you know, Arno Armstrong. And he actually maybe said it best. He put up a tweet today that summed up the campaign. That said we were outspent, we were knocked down, we were counted out, and in spite of all that, we were victorious. The reason I bring that up is because it's all accurate. We got outspent by millions and millions of dollars. Susan Wild, I think, when all is said and done, I think she maybe spent $7.5 million of her own campaign. We raised and spent about 1.5 or 1.7 million.
Wow.
So, not a small amount, but we were getting significantly outspent, probably 5 to 1. Then in terms of the outside groups, she got millions and millions of dollars more. We got millions as well, but she had far more than we did. So again, we were being outspent by the outside groups. Going up against an incumbent, 2% of incumbents lose their election, their re-election. So most people in the national polls and prognosticators, they were saying doesn't stand a chance. There was actually one outlet that right ahead of the election said Ryan McKenzie has a 15% chance of winning based on all of our projections. So all that to say, we never lost confidence because of all the support that we had here at home. All the work that we were doing, going out, knocking on doors, talking to people person to person, and also because we knew we had the right message. We were out there for almost a year and a half, not just me, but everybody in this room, staying and telling the people around us how the Democrats and the liberals had failed us in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Okay? And we all see it, we all know it, but there are so many people that don't live and breathe politics like us. And so we had to get that message out on the economy, on immigration, on the chaos around the world. And we offered a very good alternative, not just with me, but people like Dave McCormick, who was just announced as the winner for the U.S. Senate. And maybe most importantly, re-electing Donald J. Trump. So, all of you are fired up just like I'm fired up. I haven't slept much in the past 2 days. And it's not because it's just my little baby, but I think he is wondering, I'm not joking, normally how it works is that he would wake me up with his whimpering and crying at around 4 or 5 a.m. and, you know, with daylight savings time, it's been around 4 lately. That's okay, I get it. But now, all of a sudden, little Leo is wondering, like, why are you up before me? So,
Look, it's all good, but more importantly than just for me, for us, for our community, we can get to the work of the people, the American people, bringing about real change in Washington, D.C. on all these issues that we've been talking about, because we have that lineup of the House, the Senate, and the White House. And our team in the House, I know Speaker Johnson, I talked to him after the election, he already has a 100-day plan to work on things like energy independence, securing the border, tax reform, all the major issues that we've talked about and we care about. We are going to hit the ground running. It's not going to be like it was last time when President Trump came into office. And then also, again, having a great partner in the U.S. Senate with Dave McCormick, and also myself knowing lots of people from the Trump administration that I'm friends with personally, we are going to be able to accomplish real things for America and bring about real change right here in the Lehigh Valley. All that to say, thank you. Could have done it without you. I'm not going anywhere, obviously. I'm still going to be around. I might not make it to as many Tea Party meetings as I normally do. But you all know where to find me. If you ever need help with constituent services or anything like that, once we get our office set up in January, please feel free to call us. But thank you again, everybody. God bless all of you. And God bless these great United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan McKenzie. And now we'll get to the meat of the meeting. All right, listen, any soliciting that you may do, any pamphlets you want to hang or pass out or put on the tables, please see Andrew first before doing that. Next slide, please. Thank you. And please, respect the speakers. Respect the people that are up here on the stage. And we've already talked about it. Thank you. No talking, no phones. Give them your best listening to. Now, see, I get choked up when I read this next. Sorry. We want to honor all who served. Veterans Day is Tuesday, November 11th. Thank you all for your service. All the veterans, I'm sorry, Monday, not Tuesday. I'm still in the election mode. All the veterans, please stand. Now, all the veterans, you know, you can go online and find out where you get your free meals on Monday.
Mission barbecue.
Texas Roadhouse, yeah.
Some like Jim go to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I've seen him go in.
I was just going to mention that. All right, next slide, please. All right, I'll let you guys all read this membership and treasury reports. Total members over 7,000. Bank balance over 65,000, almost 66,000. And the available credit line is $16,000. Alrighty, next thing on the agenda. And I know we do have some here. First-time attendees.
Raise your hand.
Please stand up.
Stand up, please. First-time attendees. Over here. Now, I hope we got you all psyched up that you'll be back to the next meeting. And the following meetings. 50-50 raffle. During the break, you can go back in the back and you see Tom and Mo back there to buy your 50-50 raffle tickets. One winner.
It's going to be a big prize tonight.
Yep, I have it. Oh, I better not win now.
You're giving it back.
Yeah. All right, we're going to speak on this one for a moment here. So this is our big biennial raffle. It's called Guns and Goodies. As you can see, what's the number one? Donald J. Trump hat. If you look behind Jim's right shoulder, our president is wearing the hat. It's autographed. Right? So that's our top prize. If you look down there, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, you have some quality handguns. Our gun shop is Boyer Hardware. And if you win the gun, you can take it. If they don't have it in stock, you can switch it out for another one. You can upgrade, you can downgrade. Or if you do not want to take the gun, like Tom and I, we have a friend that we eat lunch with on Fridays, and he made the mistake of telling his wife that he won the gun. She told him to cash it in, and we didn't even get a meal out of the guy. I was ticked off. Anyway, Louis, sweet Louis. And then you see, starting at number 9, our dear friend Bill Bockenberg, Lehigh Valley Sporting Clays, 2 rounds of sporting clays there. Anson belt and buckle.
See my belt buckle there? That's an Anson belt buckle. It holds if you wear something heavy there, it holds it.
That's all I'll say. All right. Tom's laughing now. I'm gonna get him a belt for Christmas. Orchard Steakhouse. That's they've been here before. Orchid Steakhouse. Yep.
Yes.
And then we have over here Biagio Restaurant, Big Joe, Farm and Table Restaurant, Pizza Chef. That's where the board we have our meetings. La Bella Restaurant. They're down in Easton. They're supporters of the Republican Party. Mission Barbecue. We have a gift basket over here with $50 gift cards and some other goodies. Another Biagio gift card. And more miles like you have a oil change for all of those of you that did a lot of canvassing and drove your car around and need to change your oil. So it's a great raffle, and the tickets are at your table for all of you that were kind enough to buy a ticket, or we have a bunch of sellers. Those are the ones that made this happen. Thank you so much. There's still time to buy some tickets at the break, and we'll be doing that during this meeting. I want to especially thank Annette in the back of the room. She's my partner in doing this. Annette, stand up. She collects all the tickets for me. She gets nervous every time I say we're going to do her raffle. She does say, I'm not sure if it's going to work, but wait till we have the next raffle and have all that extra money. We'll really sell you a lot of tickets. Thank you, folks. All right. Then we have our meat drawing and dance. This is going to be our first party together. And that is actually run by this fire hall. They are Trump supporters. How many of you came when they had the Trump bus here? Did any of you come? I called up the president and I said, could we bring the Trump bus here? He said, no problem. He said, put it in the back of the parking lot. When the Trump bus said we want to be right at the front door, the treasurer said, put it at the front door. So they are very supportive of us. So I ask you all to buy some tickets. They are 3 for $5, or they are 12 for $20. I believe I've done my math right. And it's a fun night, okay? If you buy tickets, you get to come and eat for free and all the beer you want. Yes?
How about the truck garbage truck?
The what?
A truck garbage truck.
Trump garbage truck. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. Oh, Bill's place, the Trump garbage truck, yeah. All right. The 100 ticket raffle in the back room. How many tickets do we have left, Steve? All done. They're all sold. We're going to have another drawing tonight. Wow. Go ahead, Jim. Second Amendment book by David Barton in the back of the room. They're for $5 at the 2A table. Jim, you can read the next few here.
All right. The chips that you can buy over here at the table and over here where the Steve's wife is, Leslie, thank you. You can buy your chips over there. If you don't have the cash for anything you need, like filling the buckets on the tables, buying any merchandise in the back, you can buy the chips. They're good as gold. Well, no, maybe good as cash. Seems how gold prices went up. But you can use them to buy whatever you need.
All right, and now it's the reason your husband's come to this meeting is to get a little sugar in their system. So we ask you to buy some brownies, cannolis, and some crumb cake from Joe in the back of the room. My troop is already accepted. We already have our cadet sponsor. She's a local girl from Bucks County, a swimmer, and we will be attending the West Point Camporee. And I am so hoping they change the wilderness in West Point. So with Trump back in the presidency, I hope my boys, and I was proud, some of my boys who attended this, I saw them at the polls, they go Trump, so it worked, I thank you, so. Thank you for always supporting them, and I ask you to get some brownies, cannolis, crumb cakes, and remember, man, when your wife turns around, buy another one and stick it in your pocket, have it for breakfast. All right.
All right, we do have patriot-minded businesses that donate to us. There's a pamphlet in the back that you can pick up. Support the businesses, please. And anyone that would like to become a member of that pamphlet right there, you can see Mel in the back, and have your name and your business put on the pamphlet. Remember, support your local businesses. All right, we have some new merchandise in the back. We have a pink hat, red shirt. You can find them in the back also. I think Steve has them back there, yep, at the Second Amendment table. You can stop back and pick one of those up during the break.
And folks, if you have a weapon either that you carry with you or for home defense, or if you were threatened on election day like I was, physically, by actually county workers. In fact, one of our lawyers was threatened and he had to call the police. So, here's the thing. Yeah, the banana factory. Here's the thing. If you ever need to hire a lawyer, and Tom can testify on this, the amount of this is less than $200. They cover you from start to finish. To see an attorney, first you have to call and find one that would help you out, and usually they're retainer fee. Mafia. Retainer fee. These lawyers. Retainer fee will be more than that. All right, so please, if you join, instead of 12 months, you get 14 months. So the cards are at the tables, and they're a great group.
All right, now we have what we do every month, a presentation by Val Ferguson for supporting the troops. Valerie.
Good evening and praise the Lord. Okay, so the United States, it was founded by our forefathers on certain beliefs. And a lot of you people here have those same beliefs.
Yes.
And that is why on Tuesday, we voiced our opinion and we got what we wanted. So at these meetings, we sit a lot and people were saying, are you going to stand again when Andrew said stand again? So I'm going to ask you to do it again too, because sometimes we need exercise after all those cannolis. So, if any of you have done anything this election, you could have been a phone worker, you could have been a canvasser, you could have gotten your neighbor to register to vote for the first time, you could have even spoke to someone with your beliefs about what was right. I'd like you to stand up. Anything you did. If you can, if you can. Okay, now I want to give you a great big round of applause. What a crowd we have here. Okay, thank you. Well, as many of you know, for 15, going into 16 years, I've been sending free care packages to our military, and thankfully, right now, all I need is names. And they are still serving, even though we got what we wanted. They will always be there, and they always like to hear from you. So if you know anybody, come see me. And for all you veterans, I was going to ask you to stand, but you did that already. If you've never gotten a star from me, made out of an American flag, come in the back and see me. And God bless America. And all of your families, Donald, and all our new elects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Val. All right, if you read the screen, it'll tell you why we ask for donations. We don't ask for much. $10 a person is what we look for. $5 is okay. A couple dollar bills is okay. A 20 is better. I think 5 comes after 2. Yep, 50 is better. Anything you want to donate, it's entirely up to you, and you can use the coins that you buy.
Okay, so next up we're going to have our board member Bill Bockenberg present regarding the NRA. Just out of curiosity, how many of you knocked on doors? Did any of you knock on doors, or raise your hand if you knocked on doors? How many of you did phone calls? How many of you did any kind of literature or anything like that? Did any of you work on PACs like Faith and Freedom? The NRA? PHAs? How many of you did flag waves? So again, we have to stay involved. One of the things I did do was we had a gentleman here from the NRA. I thought it was one of the best presentations we had. It was a very simple thing. It was a texting program, and then we had some voice calls. Those were a little bit more difficult. Unfortunately, I ran out of time. But Bill is a board member on the NRA, so he's going to tell you a little bit about the results with that. So if you could give him your attention, please. And Bill will clarify exactly what his position is with the NRA. Tom Carroll approves that message.
Thank you, Tom. He's a troublemaker. We all know Tom Carroll, right? So, good evening, everyone, and thank you for all coming out. It's just great right after an election. I'm sure we're all together here really, really tired. I haven't slept in a couple of nights. Didn't sleep Tuesday night. And then it dawned on me last night, I didn't sleep last night because it was a whole new feeling of being attacked for the last almost 4 years, waiting for the DOJ to knock down our door for what we're doing, the family, the threats. So I want to thank everyone in here for the support and the prayers. It means a lot. So thank you. We went around the state for the last 4 months, and Tom was actually my sidekick. He got to carry the computer bag and the projector and everything. So thank you, Tom. Like 15 hours and 2 days in the car. But Hunt the Vote was a product of going after conservative hunters, okay? And what it was a mass-based, micro-targeted. Everyone in this room has thousands of data points stored about you. They know more about you than you know about yourselves. By your purchases, by your cell phone, where you go, what you buy, they just track everything. And we got access to that data also to identify the hunters in PA, and more importantly, to identify, I'll stand back a little bit, the conservative hunters. You heard a lot of talk out there, we got to register the hunters. Right? And we'll talk about that in a minute. We do not want to register all the hunters.
That's right.
There are, and you're going to see the numbers, a group of liberal, progressive hunters that don't believe in Sunday hunting, don't believe in black guns, don't believe in concealed carry. So we don't want to get them. What we did is we targeted all the hunters on a score of a 0.6 and above, which indicated by everything that they do in their personal life, they're conservative, and they'll vote conservative. This is some fairly current data. It depends what website you go to. The numbers may be off a couple of thousand. But if you look here, I'm standing back here so you can see off to the side here. We've got, about 3.9 million Democrats, 3.6 million Republicans, 1.1 million independents, and then there's about another couple of hundred other parties out there. And you can't imagine the names of some of these parties. It's amazing, but they're out there. But what's been happening over the years is the Democrats used to have over 1 million advantage over the Republicans. It's now they're down to about 297,000. And that's because of a lot of effort in the room here, of the people that went out there and got Republicans registered and got Democrats to convert. And quite frankly, as much as some of us Republicans are mad at our party, the Democrats are even madder at their party. And a lot of that moved to independent. And we've got the results of that we've been tracking. So the mail-in ballots, back in 2020, the Democrats had 1.7 million. We had 623,000. But in 2024, the Democrats grew that by another 200,000. So 1.9 million ballots.
Wow.
And we only had 772,000. They had an 87%, almost a 88% return rate on their mail-in ballots. We only had a 79% return rate. So maybe you requested the ballot, you kept it, you went to the polls and voted in person. We hope they did that. So these are just general numbers of about the 9 million registered voters. I saw this chart and I cut it out because I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
There was no fraud in 2020.
Yeah.
Absolutely, there was no fraud. That proves it right there. I mean, it's just. So let's talk about the hunters, because I'm a hunter, my boys are a hunter. We've got hunters in here. I won't have you raise your hands. You know who you are. We've got our NRA people that wear their hats, so thank you. There's approximately 899,000 hunters in Pennsylvania. 533,000 of them are conservative hunters, which would most likely vote with us. There's 168,000 conservative hunters that are not registered.
Wow.
That are not registered. There's 197,000 liberal, registered and unregistered hunters. So what we did is we target those directly. So if we look here in Pennsylvania, of those conservative hunters that are out there, 36,000 did not vote in 2016 or 2020. Oh, wow. 36,000. 94,000 only voted in one of the two elections, and most of them voted in 2016, but they didn't vote in 2020. There's 42,000 new voters for this election cycle of hunters. And that's a combination of turning age and registering. Probables are 361,000, that are hunters that went out in the last 2 presidential elections and voted. But they're still at risk. If you don't motivate them to come out, if they don't think their vote counts, if they think there's too much fraud. So what we did is we targeted, when I say we, Hunter Nation and NRA, targeted the 533,000 conservative hunters to get them out to vote. Okay, Andrew wants to ship them ice cream. Who's all in favor of ice cream? I would spend the money on them. We're just in whipped cream. You know, the funny part about the McDonald's is, at most of his campaign stops, his staff, while he's out doing the campaign rally, goes to a McDonald's. They have refrigerated little coolers that they bring out to the McDonald's, load them up, bring them back to the plane for the flight back. And they have, McDonald's. So, a little story there. So this is the chart from Monday. Okay. This chart shows by congressional district, the 1 through 17, of how many casted mail-in ballots, conservative hunters that cast their ballots. So we had here in PA7, Ryan McKenzie's district here, 385 cast ballots that hadn't cast ballots in the last 2 elections. 2,100 of that only cast one of the last 2. This other number here is, because this actually goes back 4 presidential election cycles, means 316. So we had 16,000 hunters in PA7 that voted by mail-in ballot. Conservative.
Wow.
I'm going to get a little deeper into this, but we decided to focus on PA7, which is Lehigh Valley, PA8, which was up north in Cartwright's district, Wayne County, parts of Monroe, Pike, Luzerne, I think, or Lackawanna up there, and PA10, which was Scott Perry's district down by Lancaster, who I spent a lot of time with Scott, and they were very, very concerned on losing that race because the Democrats, as you heard Ryan, poured a lot of money, and he was running up against a news personality that everybody knew in the region. So if we look at this, 6,000 never voters in the last 4 elections. One of the last 2 elections, 40,000. We had 269,000 hunters that voted mail-in ballots. In a couple of weeks, we'll have the number of people that went directly to the polls.
That's a lot.
This is what's really interesting here. Trump won by 133,000.
Wow.
We got 269,000 of hunters out. That's how important it was. We got fired up. We had, and as I went around to the different counties with Tom, we had Ted Nugent come in via Zoom. We had Don Jr. come in via Zoom, and we fired up the hunters. Because here's what happens. How many got flyers mailed to you from all the different candidates? What was their best friend? The garbage can. If you got a flyer that had Ted Nugent on it, or Don Jr., you read it.
Yeah.
If you got a phone call from either of them, you listened. If you got a text message from either of them, you read it. And that was the difference. the Swamp Boys, Duck Dynasty, a lot of the celebrities on the outdoor channels, Ted and Don. We motivated the hunters to get out to vote. If you look at what happened here with the Senate case race, McCormick won by 31,000. We got the low propensity ones out of 85,000.
Wow.
So it made a difference.
Yeah.
But it was everyone too, right? It wasn't just us, it was everyone out there. It was door knocking, but it added a lot of good voters here. If we look here at PA7, Lisa lost by 14,000, Lisa lost by 5,800, Mackenzie won by 5,500, but we brought 6,800 no voters in this time,
Wow.
or 16,000. The difference, right? Because if you're close enough, you're going to contest it. They always seem to find the balance, don't they?
Yeah.
We missed a box, right? We didn't count right. Cartwright, we flipped that one also up there. Cartwright's been there for eons. Nobody ever thought they could beat Cartwright. And Rob Bresnahan there, 7,000. No voters, 5,700, but almost 16,000 hunters. And these are only the ballot 2 people. This is not the people that voted in person. And Scott Perry, the same thing. Scott won by 6,400. We were about 5,675 there, and 20,000 total. So this program works. We ran it in Louisiana. We got the governor elected down there. This didn't only happen in PA. We did it in Wisconsin, Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, and Arizona. The unfortunate part. We had a $3 million budget for Pennsylvania. We only raised about 400,000. So this is the kind of results we can get with 400. You've got to start working on elections already for the next couple of years and get it funded. So I just want to say, I want to thank everyone for whoever donated to the program. It was phenomenal. The NRA Political Victory Fund did a lot of work. They brought 100 volunteers up from out of state to work Pennsylvania. They had a group in California that did nothing but texting for us, because you have to hit the button to send the text in, and these older ladies out there get together, and that's all they do is send texts on our behalf. The moral support was huge, right? Not only for us, but think about it for the candidates too, right? They all were told they could never win, and you've got to go in as winners. I personally want to thank Tom Carroll. Tom has been at the tip of the spear here for almost 4 years on the election fraud front.
Yes.
We're still fighting. What they're doing to him and the legal team is unconscionable. That they should all be put in jail.
Yes.
We'll see what happens. You know, Andrew is just a phenomenal leader here. What Andrew did, and Glenn Geisinger and the team over there in Northampton, to wrestle it back, to take it back to a Republican county, is huge leadership, people. Huge leadership. So thank you. Bobby's still here. Gunther, he's on the radio every day. That's that's conservative leadership right there. He's got the voice to the people on the radio. We're so blessed to have Bobby Gunther Walsh on our team. So thank you, Gunther. Thank you. You know, we had some really great events in the Valley, right? We had Don Jr. here, we had Trump here. We had two young ladies that put on a Trump train event.
Yeah.
Nobody would allow them to stage for that event. They're all afraid because of the other side of zero tolerance. So these young ladies put on an event. We had 800 plus vehicles.
Yeah.
We had a garbage truck. A big sign, and it was garbage guys for Trump. We had a fire truck, we had tankers, we had dump trucks, we had everything. It was just phenomenal. And my sons participated, and they said as they went up the path, the mile or hour and a half ride, people were lining the streets with flags and clapping and everything. They got a few fingers. They were well behaved. They just went this to the But from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. I know the President greatly appreciates this win. We're going to take back our country and the future of America. Thank you. I got to do my own commercial here. As many of you know, my wife and I founded Camp Freedom 6 years ago. We take disabled veterans, disabled first responders, and Gold Star families out hiking, camping, hunting, fishing, anything with nature to help them heal. This is one of our fundraisers. It's called the Gun Fest. It's $250. You have a 1 in 4 chance of winning a gun. The people that have attended it tell me it's the best event they've ever went to as a fundraiser. It's a lot of fun because you're just basically putting a ticket in, rotating it, pulling the name out, and asking, do you want that gun? Do you want to upgrade? Or do you want to throw it back in for a better gun? So it's a really neat event. We appreciate it. The Tea Party helps us with marketing it. And if you can come out on November 23rd, we'd greatly appreciate it. It's a lot of fun up at the Valley Sporting Place, so thank you.
And if you got the text message today, you see the link on the bottom, so the text message that we sent out today, which is on the website, the flyers here, if you click on the little link, there's a YouTube video of the actual, I believe the last one they had though. So there's a video there to see how fun it is. So, all right, a couple thank yous before we go to break, and then we have our guest speaker coming up, Tom Del Bacaro. First of all, I would like to introduce you to a gentleman that I spent the streets with in Allentown over the election, being that we're both of Latino descent, and we were asked to go and walk people around. Sam Negron. Sam, can you come up?
Hello, everybody.
Hi, thank
I'm glad
you.
to be here. I'm Sam, Puerto Rican. I'm a former Democrat. I've been clean for 5 years now. I would thank everyone that had anything to do with this, especially the folks. I live in Allentown. I'm Hispanic. About 6 years ago, I woke up and started preaching, and nobody was listening. Up until 2 years ago, you couldn't say Trump on there, but all the effort that everyone here, however you did it, whether it was talking to friends, family, being out in the streets with us, people like Jeanette, my God, Jeanette, Heather, Brandon, all these beautiful people that came out to our community, spent time, put in the effort. I really, really thank you because we really flipped that city. We really, I mean, I was before, and we really did a good job. Thank you all. I couldn't have done any of it with my missus over there, Nilsa.
Stand up, stand up.
She doesn't think too much of it, but think of that. For us, yesterday was a double celebration, because some know, but not many, throughout this whole campaign season, she has been going through chemo. When she did her first chemo, cervical, she did her first chemo, 3 days later, we marched the 3 miles of the Puerto Rican parade. And that's where it must have been close to 100 degrees outside, it felt like it. After that, her second one, we did the Dominican Festival. We were there all day from beginning to end, almost end. I had a little bit before I missed the shootings. But every time there was something, she did chemo and she was out there. And I love her to death. I appreciate her. Wait, I'm gonna get sweaty out of Thank you all. There's a lot more work to do, and I'll be out there. All of y'all, I'm gonna call on y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a couple thank yous myself real quick. I want to thank the chairman of Northampton County, Glenn Geisinger.
Yeah.
As some of you know, I was applying for another ticket prior to Glenn asking me 3 times if I would run with him as vice chairman. 10 days before we were to run against 2 other teams, I said yes, and we won and beat those 2 other primary opponents in our own Republican Party, and then we were re-elected with an overwhelming amount, and Glenn has been a great chairman. Anyone that's from Northampton County, you know we won the entire thing. I want to thank Roger Gilbert, if you would stand up. As some of you know, Roger, I needed someone to cover the office. I asked him, I said, Roger, are you willing to do some time in the office? I have a nice TV, a new telephone, and some monitors, and it's like a man's cave. He said, did you want me to start today or tomorrow? And I want to thank his missus. I also want to thank Steve Greco, who was his backup. He's somewhere in the back of the room, Steve Greco. What's really cool is past county committees, meaning Northampton County and Lehigh County, there was animosity, but in Lehigh County we have Bobby Arena somewhere here in the room, and Joe Bichot, so thank you to them. I want to also thank my good friend Joe Calantoni, who I've known for years and has been at the rallies with my dad and behind security lines. There's a long story, but I won't tell that. And then 2 other people that are kind of new to me. We were at the banana factory. Some of you saw that in the news. And we were stuck there from noon till about 10 o'clock. We were the last ones to leave the room. And Juan Reynosa is somewhere here in the back of the room, if he could stand up. And Brandon Matlock. The 3 of us were in the room from about noon to 10 o'clock. And a long story, I'm not going to bother you with you, but keep those students in prayers and their parents. It was so sad, and that's why local elections matter, because they have their county employees in there. So, most importantly, I want to thank Emily in the back room, my girlfriend, if she does stand up. We just kept saying we didn't have any time together. So, for her patience and her devotion to me and to politics, she's always one of the #1 callers, and she texts, and she didn't sell as many tickets as me, but she tried. But she did sell as many tickets, and thank you to each and every one of you for being so great. So, and yes, Tom has something to say.
I know we've said this before, but Andrew Azon and I, we've been working together for all these years now. We've been going out every night before the elections and putting out signs. We have so many stories, we could write so many books. But he has been so dedicated in so many different organizations. There's not a person that I've met. I've networked across the state with the grassroots organizations, like Sam and Linda Brancadora are here today from the Berks Patriots. They are great friends and they have a great organization out there. But there's nobody in the state that could gather more volunteers to get together, or whatever it is, the NCRC or the pro-life stuff or the or the Tea Party, and we owe Andrew a great debt of gratitude.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Emily. Thank you to each and every one of you. I do it just like Trump because I love this country. I know what my parents went through, and I just ask all of you to continue. What Tom said about getting volunteers is not what I can do, it's what I can round up, and I ask you to do the same thing. They won't stop. They're going to come after Trump. You guys know that. So be proud, smile, and put on a good face. So, all right. Thank you, guys. All right, tonight's coffee sponsor is your Lehigh Valley Tea Party board members. Board members, stand up. Coffee's on us. All right, just a couple quick announcements. The 50-50 raffle, right now it is sitting at $300 going to someone. Let's get it up to 400. So right now, someone can receive $300. We still have some cakes and cannolis. The 100-gun raffle, that's going to go off tonight. There's nice new merchandise there. And if you want to become a member, please go back there. And remember, the Guns and Goodies going to go off tonight, so this is your last chance. And folks, the good news is, we have Tom Delvacar here, and he still has books. If you want to get one, go over to that and say hello to Bobby Duncan and thank you for all his dedication that he does, not only for politics, but for animals, for kids, and just for our whole community. We'll see you after the break. Thank you. Guns and Gunners, Bobby Gunter, Wolf.
Thank you. So, I have to say something. Bill Falkenberg, Bill, name of the gun show. No, your gun show. No, your gun show, the gun auction. Gun Fest. Folks, I went to that for the first time last year. I've been to other ones. This thing is a freaking blast. It really is a lot of fun. It's a really cool way of doing a gun raffle or whatever, and there's other ways to win guns besides that raffle. There's other side games going on and everything else, and you're supporting an incredible cause. How many acres is that camp, Bill? 2,000? 2,400 acres for our disabled veterans and first responders, so please support that if you can. There's information here somewhere. So, I did bring my phone up, and I left it over there, but I'll leave it there. I want to tell you something. The work isn't done, because I've gotten 3 emails from people on, well, people that got emails from people on the left. And folks, they're pissed. They're pissed, and they're not giving up. So we cannot either. And I got to tell you something. Somebody in the beginning of the night says we have to get the kids. It was in the prayer. We talked about praying for the kids to have their eyes open. Yes. We got to win school board races. We got to go to school board meetings. It's great that we had Donald J. Trump get the presidency, and that's awesome. It's a huge lift, but we got to win the school boards. If we're going to change the future, it starts in schools. It really does. Kamala said, by the way, that I love this. She did this the last 2 weeks. She said, I have a to-do list, right? And he's got a revenge list, right? Well, her to-do list is now pack up and leave. Short to-do list. Pack up and leave. I have guests on the show every day from 9 to 10, and I chose to do that rather than call-ins, because call-ins are opinions, and to get the right guests are educational. And I think I really get a lot of good guests, and I learn a lot, and that's when I know I've got a good guest. And I've known Tom Delvacar for about 10 years, incredible wealth of knowledge, especially about our history, our founding fathers. It's just, he's an attorney, he's a multi-time author. His first book was The Divided Era, The More Government Decides, the More it Divides. Would you like to get the money out of politics? Well, the way to do it is to get the power out of politics. We've got to decentralize the government. That's in the book, The Divided Era. If we want our kids to learn history and have their eyes open, and the lessons of the American civilization is his latest book, which he'll be signing more copies of afterwards. And you should buy one and get your kids educated. I did a contest. I'm going to buy a book for somebody that knows it. See if you're listening. I'm going to get one or two guesses. It's 5 figures. How many emails do I currently have in my email indent?
22,641.
I'll let him be the winner. It's 22,465. But that's all I've got in the indent. So you've got a book coming later at the end of the night. Tom is, as I said, an attorney, a multi-time author. He's often on Newsmax, and he does about 500 radio and TV shows a year. And I've got to know him for the last 10 years. I've got to meet him for the first time tonight. Would you welcome to the stage, Tom Del Vicoro.
California, how are you? All right, it's nice. I did kind of disappointed on that. I did come from California, so it's very nice to be in the United States here today. Just to start out, I hope my voice holds out. I did it since the election. What? No, I gotta have that because it'll be all right. I promise. I did about 30 interviews on election day, starting at 6 in the morning, and I wound up in London doing a radio show at 3 a.m. to explain what happened. So, what I'd like to do in this talk, I'll tell you a little bit about myself, but I want to talk about what happened in the election, and then what's really important and what we need to come at a sober moment, what we need to really understand about what's going on in Washington, D.C., and how we can go forward. I'm originally from Long Island, New York. I'm one of 8 kids. There you go. I put her in the front row for a reason. And my father helped start the Conservative Party in New York in the late 60s and elected James Buckley. Anybody remember James Buckley? There you go. I met Nixon at 7. I started watching the TV shows with my dad, and at 10 years old I decided I wanted to be a radio and TV commentator, so there you go. And I started reading, my father started me reading economics books and foreign policy things at 10 years old, and history books at 15. So that's why I was single until a month ago. Very true story. Very true story. And I weirdly became chairman of the California Republican Party. I never thought in a million years that I actually would be. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you had that down. I'm the 6th child. You don't sit still ever. It's a dangerous thing when you have 3 older brothers. So I never thought I'd be chairman or go into party politics. I always had an interest in writing and speaking and trying to get people to put things in context, to get a greater understanding of what's going on. And so that's what, if you read my columns, whether they're, you can get them all at tomdel.com, but whether they're on Fox, Newsmax, I've written for just about everybody you can imagine. But I always try to put a little bit of history because, of course, we live by experience, right? Even the way you drove here is based on experience. What's the best road? How do you avoid traffic? We should live our lives that way. I mentioned that in the book. We certainly should govern ourselves that way. And as you well know, socialists don't talk about history. because that's a history of failure, right? And we'll get to education, but of course our kids are never taught about socialism. All they know about socialism is that it's fair. But they don't know it in practice, and they don't know all that has gone wrong with it, including the deaths of so many millions of people. So, but let me just briefly talk to you about the election. There is a easy explanation at the top, but a very important explanation just underneath. The easy explanation at the top is, and the Democrats used to know this, but they forgot about it, in significant part, it's the economy. Inflation is the worst of economic problems because it's the most pernicious. Your friend can lose their job, you could even lose your job, but inflation negatively impacts everything. It's like a wildfire. And at the end of this latest inflation cycle, over 50% of Americans had liquid savings of $5,000 or less. So imagine how difficult it is to deal with that. And inflation is different from just high gas prices because high gas prices, how often do you fill your tank? Once a week, twice a week, maybe business owners more. But inflation is every day. Every day you go to the grocery store, fill your gas tank, pay your bills, on and on and on. So whenever a politician gets in trouble by creating inflation because that's what government does, not you, there's nothing you did to cause inflation. Businesses did not cause inflation. They didn't become greedy when Biden went in there. They existed for the 40 years we had almost no inflation, right? No, government printed money to pay for their deficits, to buy votes and do those other things, right? But whenever inflation takes hold like that, politicians lose. That's why there was what? Over 70% of Americans say we were in the wrong direction. So at a very easy level, the economy is stupid. It's the wrong track stupid because nobody wins re-election or wins election when the wrong track's in the 70s. No one's ever done that. That's the easy part. But the important part for us to learn, and what the United States needs to know about what you all do, is in part what you were talking about. I was state party chairman. My job, I did a lot of media, but my job, there's only two jobs that I had. One was to collect voters, and the second one was to get them to the polls. Now, I did a lot of things to collect voters, and I did a lot of things to get them to the polls, but that's it. Okay? So when I was being asked, and I was just asked, I was on TV in San Francisco yesterday, I think. If it's Thursday, I'm in, where am I? Yeah, Pennsylvania. By the way, I spend a lot of time in Jersey now. I just got married. She's there. We're going to be there. What a beautiful drive through your countryside in Pennsylvania. Unbelievable. But what you're doing, it's so critical. So let me just tell you some important little factoids, because we need to live this. Because Pennsylvania, as the center of U.S. politics, is going nowhere anytime soon. They're going to stay here, it's 19 electoral votes, and they're going to keep fighting, and underhanded at that. But here's a really simple factoid for you. The highest propensity voter is the newly registered voter. If I, as chairman of the California Republican Party, newly registered a Republican, there was an 85% chance that they would show up at the polls. So, what is the job for us is always to do exactly what you described. Flip voters and find new voters. Recruit. Period, full stop. So when I was being asked on TV who's going to win and why, I said that Trump would win, not just because he's a 100 million times better than Kamala Harris. And by the way, I put away all your sharp things. I ran for U.S. Senate against Kamala Harris in California in 2016. So it's my fault. I lived in an area with Nancy Pelosi, Barbara Boxer, Gavin Newsom, and Kamala Harris. When I went to speaking school, they did not say tell people how to boo. So there you have it. And I did, it was 2016, I debated her. In the California statewide poll after the debate, I won the debate, imagine that.
Wow.
It's not you voting, it was Californians. And at the time, I didn't realize it, but she had that cackle. And so I looked at the debate recently because suddenly I became popular on TV for knowing her. Not what you want to be known for, but here you go. And so I was watching the debate, and there were those cackles. It's something to behold. But, so what did I say as to why Trump would win? Well, you win, you all know this, you win in the Electoral College, do you not? Yes. It turns out we're not a pure democracy like in ancient Greece, for a good reason, right? The whole idea of the founders was to slow government down, not accelerate it. The socialist wants mob rule to get instant power. We must always fight that. Now the good news is, the Electoral College is never going to go anywhere in your lifetime or the next. It's in the Constitution. There's not going to be, because of the red state, blue state divide, there will be no constitutional amendments while any of us are still alive. So that is there. They're going to whine about it. But, so there's the Electoral College. So what did Republicans do smartly? Well, look at Pennsylvania. How many Amish were first-time voters? How many gun owners, hunters, were first-time? Go down to Georgia. They worked on voter registration. Take Arizona. Take the state of Nevada. In 2020, Trump lost by 34,000 votes. But Republicans made a net gain of over 80,000 voters. I'm not very good at math because I'm an attorney. But 85% of 84 is more than $34,000. And that matters. Was there motivation? Yes. Were people fed up with Washington, D.C.? Yes.
Absolutely.
But voter discontent in politics is only an opportunity. Let me say that again. Voter discontent in politics is only an opportunity for a party. They must convert that discontent into votes. The way you do that is with good candidates and a supporting party and people like, where did your fearless leader go? Oh, you're over there. Fearless leaders like this who make it easy for people to vote. Now, why am I telling you this? Because this does not end today. Kamala Harris's campaign spent $1.4 billion. Wow. There's a real question as to how much of that came from overseas, and I hope the Republicans will look into that.
Yeah.
But they're not going away. The socialist does not go away. Once a party gets infected with socialism, it doesn't give up. It sits there and fights. Now, it may damage itself terribly, like in England with the Labour Party, but who's the current leader of England now? A Labour Party. They're not going away. So when some guy from Philadelphia, what was his name? Ben Franklin? Oh yeah. Said that a republic, madam. Okay, something really important there. How many of you noticed it? He said, who can keep it? You. He did not say if your leaders can keep it. I want want you to know how profound that moment in time is, because, as Will Durant talked about, democracies are hectic interludes in history. The vast majority of history have been not democracies or republics, but authoritative governments. When people get power, they tend to be totally irresponsible with it, like in Greece, like in Rome, and they blow it. They support big government. They try to vote themselves rich. They forget the laws of economics, which is when you destroy incentives to work, people won't work. When you tax people too much, tax enough already, you do what? You destroy incentives and your economy flattens out. All those dynamics occur. And they're facing us now. Now I'm going to get sort of ultra serious with you at a significant portion of my book. What my book is the lessons of the American civilizations. You all, how many of you heard the phrase, history repeats itself? Please raise your hand. Great. So, by the way, Bob's supposed to be taking pictures for me, so I can post them. And by the way, I have a new podcast. It's called Double Caro and Hook. It's at 7 o'clock on the East on Sunday nights. And Bobby, who's my guest to talk about Pennsylvania on Sunday night at 7?
That'll be me.
There you go. So, you've all heard the phrase history repeats itself, right?
Let me see your good side.
You know what I like about Bobby the most? No, seriously, I forgot. Anyway, and make sure you get a picture of them with, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Relax. Through your speech, damn it.
So, we're human beings. We're basically the same for a long time now. Civilizations come together, they rise and fall. Governments start out small. We start out in agrarian societies. How many of you know that when the U.S. Constitution was adopted, what was the largest city in the United States? What became the United States? What? Yeah. It's so nice to be in a crowd that actually knows the answer to that. Come to California with me. How many people lived in Philadelphia during that period of time? Thank you. How many people lived in London at that time? Nearly 1 million. Almost everybody in the 90-something% lived on farms where families rule, well, the fathers back then, not families, but self-responsibility ruled. And there wasn't a great need for government. But civilizations migrate to the culture of the city. The individual replaces the family. The government schools replace the family. Textbooks replace the... Thank you. You should move up front. You're getting all things right. And everything changes at that point, right? And the cries for big government come in the urban setting because we have differing talents, and so we make differing amounts of money when we're free, right? And then, after industrialization, what happens? Socialism emerges in history, claiming we all should end up in the same place. Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, right? So, I wrote the book so we can, and it tells, so the first chapter talks about how civilizations come to rise and fall and some of these issues. And then I tell the American story from the 1500s all the way to April, which is when my publisher said, stop writing or you're never going to get this book out. So here it is. Chapter 13 is the top 10 lessons, okay? Chapter 10 is America, capitalism and socialism. Why do so many people think socialism is so good? I go through the history of America and explain it. right? Why is America exceptional? Might be different than you think, what I put. That's the second lesson, okay? But the important lesson for us to understand here, and it's a dangerous one. What happens as governments get bigger and broader, and more money is attracted to it, is that government begins, and those in charge of it, begin to protect themselves from the government. And this has happened throughout all of history. I tell the story of Venice, a republic, but not like ours, in 1310. And what happened was, in order to get to be the Doge, the oldest, or the senior leader, you have to have been in government for like 40 years, right? But a young guy whose ancestor was once the Doge was upset about the change and what was going on. So he marched, anybody been to Venice?
Yes.
He marched a bunch of horses into the square, Venice's islands, not a lot of horses, made a clamor. And they were eventually dispersed, but the ruling class was furious that they did not know this was happening. So what did Venice do in 1310 that affects us today in America? Anyone? They created something called the Council of Ten, which reduced who could get into government, and most importantly and perniciously, created the first internal spy network in the West. You know it today as the DOJ, FBI, and CIA. They were the forerunner. Why am I telling you that story? Because Washington, D.C., the DOJ, the FBI, are part, it's slightly different than the establishment you imagine, because you know the establishment of politics, right? But they're the bureaucratic establishment. And we must understand that government is a huge, big business to them. 9 of the richest 20 counties do what? Surround Washington, D.C. Government hands out nationwide $10 trillion a year. The people who hand that out are really obsessed with handing out money because it's enormous power and ego for them. It's going to reach $7 trillion in about 1.5, 2 years from Washington, D.C. They like that power. If you're the head of the CIA or within it, you have enormous power. You like to keep that. You're making money. It's big business to them. They want your money, but not your 2 cents. And this is where America is today. Now, many of you knew this. Why am I saying it? Most importantly, I try to get people to understand this natural progression. How many of you know Steve Bannon?
Yeah.
Okay. When I talk to Steve talks about, or used to, the deep state. You ever heard of the deep state?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I urged him to drop the use of the word deep state, the phrase. Why? Because it sounds exceptional, or not ordinary, or something that's happening now that's different. But what I'm trying to tell you is, throughout history, where was the deep state started? Where did I tell you? Yes, and even before that, in other places to a certain degree. Politicians have people around them who listen in on others. That is a natural human occurrence. So is the centralization of power in government. Governments start out small, they collapse very large. There's never been a country in the world where government started out really large, ornery, totally in debt, with high taxes, and decided just to give it all up and go back to a different model. So we can't call it the deep state because it's normal in history. People need to understand this normal progression. Why? Because then it's not exceptional. And then what does that tell us? That we're wise enough to understand these developments and that it's not going to just go away. The reason why they don't like Donald Trump isn't his personality. It's got almost nothing to do with that. How many of you remember when Mitch McConnell welcomed him, but said to him under his breath, you got to stop talking about draining the swamp? No, he did. They do not like anyone who challenges their power base. Yeah, they'll cut spending here or say Nancy Pelosi's this or that. But government keeps on growing and they keep on spying. They attack good people like him. They cause me grief whenever I travel. Every time they cause me grief. Right? Why? Because we're against that. He's got a file at the FBI. I have, his is bigger. I have a file at the FBI. So, now that I've sufficiently scared you or depressed you, how do we turn this around? Because we have understanding now. Now we understand that there is a class of people in history who love power and don't like to give it up and will do anything to keep it, and they're not just Democrats.
Right.
So what do we need to do differently? Well, I'm here to tell you that Pennsylvania did it differently in 2024. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But Franklin said if you can keep it, because he knows in all of history it expires. So we can't stop this time around. We can't even stop the next time around or ever. And we have to talk to our children. Right? What is not taught, I talk about this in the book, what is not taught in the classroom is forgotten in the culture. I want to say that again. What is not taught in the classroom is forgotten in the culture. And Lincoln said, what is taught in the classroom becomes the fodder of government 30 years later. So let's put this into context. 116 years ago, the public funding of schools started in interims. All right? What happens if you're the one paying the bill? Well, you start dictating how the government does, starts dictating what's taught. The reason why the socialist doesn't want you to learn history is because then you would know not only what rights you used to have, but the cost of losing those rights. So if we are to save our culture, the great historian Durant said it, if there's an interruption in the transmission of culture from over a two-generation period, the civilization is lost. This is what we're fighting for right here. Our children do not need, only 8 states in the country, imagine this, require a full year of high school civics. Only 8. And I guarantee you, California ain't one of them. Right now? Right on the stage? You gotta buy the book. But I will tell you this, they're all red, alright? No shocker. By the way, Kamala won all the states without voter ID, and Trump won all the states with voter ID. There you go. So, my point in telling you this is related to education, is our children just don't know. It's not that they don't want to know. They don't know what they don't know, right? Now look, Reagan and Trump I first voted for Reagan, right? Bobby, you first voted for Cleveland? Is that true?
Washington the second time. Says the guy with the picture of when he was 10 years old.
What were we talking about? Reagan created a generation of Reagan followers. Trump is in the process of doing the same, but that's still only an opportunity. I beseech you, and then I answer a couple of questions, to do a couple of things. Understand the lesson that he gave us tonight, which I knew as a party chairman, and that was literally my job, was to convert voters, would you say recruit voters. That is essential. If you know someone with your similar view who's not registered to vote, you got to get them registered to vote. And then the issue of school choice and reaching our children is an enormous task. But there is no substitute.
That's right. It's essential.
If we bring up 3 generations who only think Washington was a slaveholder, that's their only thought of him, which is what happens in schools, then we're fighting an impossible battle.
That's right.
But it's not a battle we can't win. You got to understand, people have had some difficulties. Lincoln had to secretly take the train through Baltimore and into Washington, D.C. under threat. Half the country then seceded, and he gave us his life for a principle, right? Washington died broke. I don't know if you know that. Jefferson died broke. Don't know if you know that. Madison died broke. I don't know if you know that. So did Monroe, James Monroe. Not Adams, because his wife was an amazing bond trader. Like Bond. She traded government debt very well. Anyway, my point in telling you this is, what we are being asked to do is what Franklin asked us to do. And we have had veterans throughout our history and great leaders throughout our history who have sacrificed enormously to give us this opportunity. And God does not say to us, I'll give you everything. What he does is give us the free will to exercise the right judgment when the opportunity arises. Thank you so very much. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to take questions. Bobby's going to be on because I want this podcast for America to understand the mini revolution you held on Tuesday night and before. But any questions? Yes, sir.
Hold on. Let me get my
Let's really go with questions, if you can. As Alex Trebek would say, in the form of a question. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
It's more of a comment than a question. Most people don't know that almost all the signers have lost everything.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And,
Wow. Most people don't know that John Hancock was arguably the richest man in America. Abandoned his home in Boston, his docks, his ships, his home on the hill, which became occupied by a British general. He couldn't take all his money with him. There were no ATMs. He came down here and signed the Declaration of Independence all by himself for about a 30-day period before anyone else did. Committed the ultimate treason. What are we being asked to do? Just stand up and talk to some neighbors. Yes, anyone? Yes, sir.
Raise your hands if you want the microphone to ask a question.
I believe that your answer to whether we will be able to keep the republic is to
continue to register new voters?
That's how you win, that's an important part of winning, an essential part of winning elections. Voters are kind of like people who come and go from towns. They sometimes, they're not like you, they're not crazy like you into politics. You mentioned that. He mentioned that. They come and go from it. And who's the great philosopher who said that you may not always be you may not be into politics, but it is into you, right? Or something to that effect. So there's no doubt. So to win the Electoral College, to win state by state, is constant recruitment is essential. Right here, right here.
So for the next generation,
Yeah.
Catholic school, Christian school, homeschool to replace the publicly funded school, or refund it, or reform it?
Absolutely, we have to move. But when government teaches something, government workers, by the way, this might get me in a lot of trouble here, but no government union should be overseeing our elections. Why is that? Because they have a different incentive, and I don't want to put them in where they have to choose between the truth and incentives. But government schools teach government values. Capitalism is not taught. What it is said about it is that it is evil, right? By the way, in the book, I write that dissent is the mother of democracy, and capitalism is the father. People derive capitalism today. I hope that you buy the book and read why capitalism literally fathered democracy. Without capitalism, there would be none. Dissent is easy. What did it say in the Magna Carta? What was the Magna Carta about in part? The right to redress your government. What's the right to redress your government? To say, no, you're doing the wrong thing, or you've taken something from me, or something's wrong. That's the genesis of the First Amendment. If you can't say, Joe Biden, you're wrong without the government going after you, Tulsi Gabbard, then you have no freedom. So dissent is the mother of democracy. So government schools are not going to tell people about the First Amendment or whatever because it's government now. Our founders weren't into government. They were into freedom.
One last question over here with the mic. Can you please repeat how we can hear your podcast with Gunther again on Sunday night?
Sure, it's Del Carl and Hook. That's kind of in it. It's called Del Carl, that's my name, and Hook. The last name is Hook. Sunday night, it's on YouTube and Rumble. But let's ask one really good question to wind it up. Come on. Yes, sir. Belloway. Yeah.
Seems like most people get their information from the news and they believe it. And the First Amendment, freedom of speech, religion, and the press. It's press, but it's not dishonest press. So it seems like I think it's 90% of the media is on the left.
Yeah.
So is there something that can be done, lawsuits or something?
Yeah. Okay, so is it really good freedom of speech in the press? First of all, the natural order of things, you may not want to hear this, is for press bias. Almost no time in history has the press for very long been independent. I'm here to tell you that Samuel Adams and James Otis did not get into heaven because they were truthful all the time in their newspapers, okay? There were Federalists and Anti-Federalists writing things for us to read. There were Loyalist newspapers and the Patriot newspapers. In the run-up to the Civil War, the newspapers were owned by politicians most of the time. There were Republican newspapers and Democrat newspapers in almost every major town, right? In the South, the intense ones were called fire breathers, right? It wasn't until the late 1800s, I think this is in the Divided Era book, which you can get online, that I wrote. It wasn't until the late 1800s that the press newspapers went out of not style, but that ended. And up until about the Vietnam War, the press was less biased. The New York Times used to favor the Vietnam War in the early 60s. They then flipped on it, and the left press was born in earnest again. So it is wrong for us to sit around and wait for the press to be even-handed. They don't specialize in that any more than you do. So what do? In the olden days, 40 years ago, it was CBS, NBC, and ABC, and they decided on Upper West Side of New York what you were going to hear as news. Now that is broken up because of technology. How did Donald Trump win in 2016? By going around them directly to Twitter. Even the old bad Twitter, okay? Now, CBS, NBC, and all those guys have destroyed their own credibility. Did you hear Morning Joe found out today that butter costs $7?
About time.
Oh, maybe inflation did occur. What do I know, Mika? Tell me what I know, Mika. The point is, they destroyed their credibility. We have to do it alternatively, okay? We have to use Twitter, right? Thank God for Elon Musk buying And we have to use the internet to our success. Those are not all going to be there in 20 to 15 years, those platforms, the bad platforms, okay? Think about this. Talk radio as a political movement is only 50 years old. Fox News is only 30 years old, I think, right? These are new elements. But in the meantime, we have to use the internet and talk directly. And you've got to be, look, local newspapers, and God forbid local radio hosts, are so essential to democracy republics because of that personal relationship. I was heartened to see so many of you go up there and talk to Bobby, and seriously, let's give him an enormous round of applause. We have to continue to go around the media, and there's many avenues to do that, and we have to talk to our neighbors. So when you talk to an independent or a Democrat, the best way to start a political discussion isn't, can you freaking believe Kamala Harris exists? To which I have to reply, yes, I do. No, just ask questions. Did you hear about how that young woman was killed in Georgia? Or can you believe how much butter it is? And talk to them about those kind of things. You don't have to win the initial discussion, but you do have to gain the relationship. A hand shaken is a friend made, is an opportunity. Why am I telling you this? You got to understand the way the left does it. 365 days a year, in the classroom, in the public employee unions, illegally handing stuff out. They don't hammer someone once. They do it subtly, over time, consistently. And we need to do the same. We need to talk to more people. This is the if you can keep it part. I know it's a lot. Our founders never wanted government to be the center of our society. But here it is. And I know you ain't giving up the fight. I know Gunther is not allowed to drive a race car ever again. And he's not giving it up, and I won't either. Come by, boy. Thank you so much.
One more time for Tom Del Picaro, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Technology. He's got two great books. Signing them over here if you want to buy one. Only $20. Support him. Don't forget I guess we're doing the 50-50 soon, but don't forget, what is it, November 23rd? I'm telling you, the gun raffle, that is such a blast. Don't forget to do that one. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you guys. You guys are the foot soldiers. You guys are the foot soldiers of the Republic. You really are. You guys have been holding these meetings for years and doing this work for years. It's not pretty work. It's grinded out work. It's ground and pound, and you've done a great job. Please give yourselves a tremendous round of applause. Enjoy the victory and keep working hard. And thank you.
Okay, folks, if you could just stay seated, let's try to finish the meeting as we will eventually close with the prayer. So there was a politician that just ran for office recently. It was a Democrat. She neglected to put out her garbage. She ran out there, tried to catch the garbage man. She said, wait, am I too late? He said, no, hop in. Okay, Berks County Patriots, their next meeting is on November 21st. November 21st. Berks County Patriots. Patriot Academy, they're doing classes, and they have a class on November 11th, November 18th. There's their website. 2 classes left. Stalker Community Church, Easton Road in Bethlehem. So, after the inauguration, we are going to the March for Life. That should be interesting as Trump will be reelected. And as you know, that was a hot issue at many of the polls. So if you're interested in going on our bus, see me. Again, that's the March for Life after the inauguration. That should be quite interesting. Next month's meeting is Thursday, December 5th, just before Pearl Harbor Day. And our 50-50 drawings, the amount, there we go, listen up folks.
Okay, now, the winner tonight is going to go home with $480 cash. Andrew Snyder is taking the ticket, and check your tickets, 0, 0, 0, 0, 930. We have a winner!
And Frank did say he was taking me down to the bar afterwards. I love this. Hope he renews my membership. I'm taking all of us. Old folks. We also have our 100 ticket raffle, folks.
All right, here it goes. Nora's going to pick the ticket. And the winner is Paul Moe.
Paul Moe, is he here? Okay, folks, we're going to call a couple people if they're here. If you can come quickly to the stage, we're going to do our drawing. So the following are our big sellers. Amelia, you can come up. Bill Mockenberg, Lehigh Valley Sporting Clays, he's going to be drawing one of the tickets. We have Dan Simons, he is a corrections officer in Northampton County. He's not here, but I want to thank him. He sold a ton of tickets for us. Marlene Danubio, is she here? She's a Tea Party member out of Helltown, another one of my great sellers. Andy Beeman is my plumber. If you need a plumber, Andy Beeman, one of my good sellers. Dean Marks, is he here? I know he's here somewhere. Dean? Jim Rush is one of our Tea Party members. He sold a bunch of tickets. He'll be one of our drawers. Jackie Arthur, a new board member. She sold, I think, $400 worth of tickets. Where's Jackie? Jackie Blue. Nora, our treasurer from the Lehigh Valley Tea Party. She sold a ton of tickets there, and she can come on up. Annette Kuyan, who is my right-hand person in running this. and Sharon Rupert, our Palmer area Northampton County Chair. If Juan Reynosa is here, he'll draw for Sharon. Let's see if we can get our folks up here. You know what we'll do? We'll let Bobby Gunther Walsh draw the Trump hat, if he could. Take your time, Bobby. Roll that up. Did anyone else want to buy it? Take it before we draw. All right, so our first prize is an autographed hat from our President, Donald J. Trump. Bobby Gunther Walsh will draw.
Bobby Gunther Walsh.
I hope he gives me that $10 later, huh?
It's Mr. and Mrs. Eric and Anne Marie Carr.
Tea Party members from way back in the day. So, all right, thank you very much. Jim Rush, board member, sold several $100 worth of tickets. He's going to draw. This is for a Glock 43X9mm. Don't say Jim Rush. Let me read it. Joe Ellen Berger from Coopersburg. Oh, I sold the ticket. Joe, is he here? Joe? All right, I will give that to them. We will call that person out. All right, next up, Nora, our treasurer. Come on up here. She's going to draw number 3. It's a Ruger LCP Max 380. Boy, that's cold out there. All right, the winner is Jackie Arthur. And unfortunately, her husband's in the audience, so that'll be negotiated. Jackie Arthur, new board member, sold about $400 worth of tickets. Come on up, Jackie. All right, the winner on this one is Nick Weber from Danielsville, sold by Harold Dixon. Is Mike here? Okay. That's number 4. Number 5 is a Glock 19 Generation 5, and that will be drawn by Juan Reynosa on behalf of Sharon Rupert, one of our big sellers. The winning ticket is Dean Yackel from Quakertown. Is he here? Dean? He's here? Yes? No? Okay. All right. Next up, Mr. Bill Bockerberg, if he can come up and draw our number 6 one, which is a 6-hour 365. He's going to let Tom Carroll draw that. Andrew Azan. There it is. And that's actually the gun I own. So I'm upgrading to a Legion. All right, next. Let's see here. I'm going to let Emily draw the next one. She sold a Springfield Hellcat. And the gentleman from our attorney from U.S. Lordship, that's what he is. He's a Springfield person. So, Emily, pull out a ticket. Okay, the winner is Kevin Halforser from New Tripoli. Kevin? Oh, Kevin.
need a handgun, what we'll do is, Annette will send you a piece of paper where you'll go to Boyer Hardware. You can claim that gun, you can upgrade, downgrade, and you can say, I prefer to take cash less $50 value. All right, now we're going to get a AF Boyer Hardware guns. They have a $100 gun raffle ticket, and we're going to let Franklin Cope. He was also a pretty good seller. Franklin, come on up here. Franklin Cope. Hope with Hope.
Happy birthday, Frank.
Happy birthday, Franklin. John Fox. Sold by John Fox from Bethlehem, PA. John Fox. Okay. All right, let's see over here. Eric Hart, you're a winner. Come on up and pick one of our next tickets out. Our next ticket will be for the Lehigh Valley Sporting Place. 2 tickets. Come on up, Eric. And the winner is, oh jeez, is Andrew Azan III. All right. The next ticket is for an Anson belt and buckle, conceived carry. We're going to have, let's see over here, Mr. Dr. Janney, can you come on up? Okay. And this winner is Jeff Ekites from Martin Street. Jeff, is he here? All right, we'll put that with her over there. All right, let's get someone else. Who else would like to draw a ticket here? All right, come on, Marianne Morales from the board. Next up is our secretary. She's going to draw one here. All right, whoop, you pumped up too here. All right, the winner of this prize is Amelia Mary. What did she win? What was that one? What number we won with that? Was that the belt? Was that the belt? Orchid Steakhouse. That's going to cost me money. All right, next one is Diageo Restaurant. That's our good friend Joe Ravino. If you ever ate here, that's a great meal. And boy, 2 people could eat 1 meal. Our winner is Captain Mel. Is he here? Captain Mel. Eugenio Melendez. If you can pass that over there. Whoops. Just to see, we're passing through. All right, let's take a look over here. One of the girls that helped us out with Faith and Freedom. Come on up here. Charlotte's going to draw our next winner. Whoop. Our next winner is for Farm and Table in Nazareth, PA. Farm and Table in Nazareth, PA. Okay, Farm and Table in Nazareth, PA. And the winner is Jeannie Moment. Jeannie Moment, sold by Mel. I think that's by Mel Gallagher. Jeannie Monet. All right, the next one. Pizza Chef, great Italian food in Palmer, Pennsylvania. I'll draw this one here. And the winner is, let's take a look over here. The winner is June Fava from Reading, PA. Sold by Tina Kassak. June Fava. All right, the next one is from La Bella Restaurant in Easton, PA. And then it will be drawn by Mrs. Janney. Or Mrs. Janney. Her full name is? Doctor. I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't have any patients. All right. Scott Hofford from, wow, I don't even know how to say this city. Lena Hartsville, PA, sold by Scott. Is that yours? Scott Hofford? right, next one in it is Mission Barbecue, am I right? Mission Barbecue. Jim Russ, come on up and pick up the next one. Mission Barbecue, the gift basket is here. $50 gift card and some other prizes in there. The winner is Joe Tressler from Easton, PA. I think that's one of the guys they eat with the Italian food. That's one of their breakfast together. All right, our next one is Diageo Restaurant. They were very grateful. We were very grateful. They picked out, gave us more than one gift card. All right. And the winner is Charles Knight. Where's Charles? Is he here? Charlie Knight. Did he leave? Charlie Knight. Which one? All right, oil change here. All right, and our oil change winner goes to Linda Menster in Pennsboro, sold by Bonamaker. Is Linda here? Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Lehigh Valley Board, as we represent, we thank you for making this a successful drawing. We'll close with a prayer. We're going to draw one more, a book here from our guest speaker, Thomas W. Carl, The Lessons of the American Civilization. Tom, what do you think you're drawing here? Go ahead. Hold on.
Right now, most people like me if I pick 1, 2.
Okay. Let me see what it says here. Hold on. Yeah. Does it say Bobby Gunther Walsh?
The legendary Eric Baez. Is that what it says?
Eric Baez, yes. Lehigh Valley Sporting Place.
Wow. Good.
Where's you? Okay.
Do you have to be present to win?
No. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank our guests. We thank you. We'll close with a prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for an election that went the way we had worked for and prayed for. At this time, we especially pray for the safety of Donald Trump. Put the right people around him that will protect him and use his God-given talents to make America great again. For our local newly elected congressman, our U.S. Senator, and for our down-ballot candidates here in Pennsylvania. May they restore Pennsylvania to be a great state, the state that made it all happen in Philadelphia, and help us to regain our courage and energy that next year when we work here locally for elections, that we restore Northampton, Lehigh County, and all the other surrounding counties. Bless this Tea Party, its board members, its members, and we also thank you for all the veterans who served in this country, and we ask you to help us get home safe and sound, and we ask this in your presence. Amen.
Amen.
Just a quick question. How many of you would like, we did last year a party in January, like a New Year's party. Would you like to do a party? Because if the board's gonna go through this, we want a group of people to come here. What we did is, I don't think we charged them up, we just wanted to cover the food. It was very good food, and then we tried to put some music on and dance. Do you, by a raising hand, if we go through, would you like to do a party? Alright, we'll try to give that a go. We'll see you next month. God bless you, and have a great night. Thank you. There was a lady that left an Android phone in the ladies' room. We found an Android phone in the ladies' room, and it was a woman that found it. There was no men in that bathroom. We don't believe in that stuff. There was a phone found in the bathroom. Frank has it. Oh, it's up here. An Android